Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. It is your friendly neighborhood farmer Raznac, and today we're talking numbers. That's right, the Pros versus Joe's multiplayer challenge numbers. The challenge is over. The Pros were victorious. Just barely though, really. It was a very close fight. It was a great battle. It was a lot of fun. I'm going to put a link down below to Farmer Klein's last live stream, which was last night. It was a 3-hour live stream. We had an absolute blast. It was competitive. It was funny. There was some goofing around. We had a great time. I had a lot of fun talking to both teams after the match. We got together and kind of chatted about our experiences and stuff like that. But what I have here for you today, if I can talk, Farmer Klein pulled the data from the save game for us, and then I'm going to go over this data today. We're going to I have put it in a slideshow format using Google Slides, and excuse my PowerPoint skills, they're about that of an 8th grader. So we're going to go over the stats, and then at the end of the video I'm going to talk about kind of a channel update, where I'm going, what I'm going to be working on next myself, what kind of content I plan on producing, and that way you guys kind of know where my channel stands after that, because it's kind of been in disarray for this channel. I've been doing some stuff here and there, but primary focus was putting in a lot of hours into this challenge. I would say at least, I don't know, 30 to 40 hours a week I put in for the last 4 weeks into this challenge. So a lot of time I put in, other people put in more time, and kudos to them. A lot of people worked really hard on this for their teams. So let's look at the numbers. Let's see what we ended up with. Alright, so Pros versus Joe's challenge. This is an FS19 multiplayer challenge. If you've been living under a rock, have no idea what I'm talking about, well, I can't help you there. Alright, this was a 28-day challenge with 2 teams. It was on the map No Man's Land by Alien Jim. Again, thank you, Jim, so much for participating, for being on the Pros team, and for making the map. A lot of people have loved this map. It's a great map. It really captures, I think, the best of Farm Sim 19, and we all have Alien Jim to thank for that. So thank you, Jim. The map was split in half. One side was for one team, the other side was for another team. And that's what we did. The most money at the end wins. That was it. Very simple winning conditions. The most money at the end wins. The other strange thing is we only could lease equipment. Lease equipment only. There were some other rules involved, but those are kind of the main tidbits of it. And like I said, if you've been watching it, you kind of know what the rules were. Team Pros. Here we are at the end. We went ahead and went to the inn to drink our stress away. I had a little bit too much, so I'm kind of already in the ground. No, we got Farmer Klein, JFK Shot First, Alien Jim, Darren, and myself. I was trying to crouch to be cool, but it really didn't turn out that great. Jamberry was our photographer, so thank you, Jamberry. Team Joe's, I was only able to capture 3 of them, because by the time we finished, there were only 3 people on the server. That night, if you watch Farmer Klein's stream, at one time we had 9 of the 10 players on the server working. There was only one person that was not there on the last night. But here's Jamberry, Nuka-Cola, and Pete hanging out on the Joe sign in the rain. This was right when we stopped. It was 23. I think they were actually done with their work. We had a couple more minutes left before the server stopped, but there they are. So thank you guys so much. Thank you, Jamberry, IaRoadKill, Acid Man, Nuka-Cola, Pete T. Also during the challenge, sorry that popped up. Thank you, Gizmo. I know his mom's been in the hospital, and he's got a lot of stuff in real life he's dealing with, so he kind of dropped out from the challenge. And then John the Unwise Geek took over for him, and then John the Unwise Geek dropped out of the challenge. And then in the very last few days, Mr. Pete T. Pete's a machine, guys. That last day he put in 15 straight hours. So kudos to Pete. Pete, thanks for stepping up and jumping in to the challenge, and thank you guys for participating. Alright, stats. So this information was pulled from the final save game, compiled in a nice little document for me to read by Farmer Klein, so thank you, Farmer Klein, so very much. All right, total server runtime was 39,871 minutes, or 664.51 hours. That's how long the server ran. From the time we started it to the time we stopped it, that was just total runtime. That's not total playtime, but just total runtime. Then we found a stat in the called worked time, and I'm not going to read this word for word. It's in minutes, but I'm not sure what it was tracking. I don't know if this was actual time in a vehicle, which could make sense. Work time as in time in a vehicle that was moving. Pros, we only had 3,806 minutes, where the Joes had almost, not quite double, but 6,324 minutes. That's pretty substantial. That's a pretty substantial amount of time, if that's what work time means. I'm really not sure what it is. We kind of have a theory that that's actual vehicle time, that's actual time actually doing something, maybe. It's kind of hard. Some of this information is kind of obscure, and it's hard to deem what it is because it doesn't give you a whole lot of information. But that's that. Now we have, that is a lot of driving. So I'm pretty sure this is in kilometers. Again, the game doesn't tell me, but I'm assuming it's in kilometers. Travel distance for the pros was 9,201.86 kilometers, with a total fuel usage of 44,004 liters of fuel. We got better fuel economy because the Joes traveled only 8,837 kilometers with a total fuel usage of 55,671. So we had way better fuel economy on our end. I wish this would quit popping up. Way better fuel economy on our end. Maybe if I left my mouse alone. But the travel distance, that was pretty cool. So I added those up, and if it is in kilometers, it's 18,039.37 kilometers, or pretty much halfway around the Earth. Because the Earth, I think, is 40,000-ish kilometers in circumference at the equator. So we farmed half the Earth. Way to go, guys. Just in linear fashion. But yeah, it's a lot of distance in those tractors. All right, in the field, here's some fun stats about actual field work. Total hectares. I broke it down to hectares and acres because a lot of people, especially here in the United States, we really don't look at hectares. We always look at acres. Where other parts of the world, they only look at hectares. They don't work at acres. So roughly 1 hectare is 2.47105 acres. That's according to Google. So total land worked, pros, 3,082 hectares, or 7,616 acres. Joe's 4,119 hectares, or 10,180 acres. They worked that much land. It's a lot of land work, and I'm assuming that is the total amount of everything done on the land. Hectares worked. That's cultivating, plowing, seeding, fertilizing, harvesting, mowing. I mean, everything. I think that is everything you did. I don't know if it includes baling. I don't think it does. But I mean, look at that. They worked 2,500 more acres than we did. A lot of acres. So really, I think the challenge came down to efficiency of acres to income. I think that was a big part of it. Also, the big part at the end we'll talk about here in just a little bit was digestate. We stored up a lot of digestate and sold that off at the end, and that kind of helped pull us ahead there. So cultivated 244 to 403 acres. I'm not going to read the hectares because, again, it's here for you guys to read, but I'm more of an acres guy. So 244 cultivated acres to 403. Total cultivation time was 124 minutes, or roughly 2 hours, just cultivating. So we really didn't do a whole lot of cultivating, but we really didn't plant a lot of crops. The only crops we planted were sugarcane, potatoes, and cotton. That was it. So we didn't have a whole lot of time planting crops. Now the Joes, on the other hand, when it was viewer challenge number 1, they went with multiple crop types versus the single sugarcane. So they have more time in a cultivator at 198.4 minutes. Total plowed acreage, 162.57 acres for us. The Joes have more than double the amount of plowed acreage, 367.39 acres, which took a lot of time. But it looks like they were more efficient with their plowing than we were. We have total plowed time at 697.33 minutes, and they only have 840.87 minutes for twice the amount. So a little more. I think it looks like they're way more efficient when it came to plowing their land than we were. Again, I'm reading into this, and I could be wrong, but that's kind of what I get from that. Seed and fert, or as we like to call it on the pro side, grass juice, because we really didn't use any fertilizer. I can't think of any fertilizer that we used other than grass juice, maybe at the very beginning. But seed usage, pros, 183,119 liters of seed. Joe's 275,412 liters of seed. Again, they did way more crops than we did. Sown acreage, Joe's pros 447,058 acres, Joe's 1,240.36 acres. And again, I think that really comes down to when they had to switch over all their land and use up a bunch of their land to grow those multiple crops for viewer number 1. Also, they planted way more potatoes. No, not really. Potatoes and cotton weren't that different. We just kind of did it a different way. They did it in one big batch, where we did it in smaller batches that we turned over. So really this comes down to, I think, where they planted all that crop versus just the sugarcane. Total time sowing, pros 17.48 hours, Joe's 43.68 hours. All right, spray usage. Spray is fertilizer. Again, I'm assuming. I think I'm right. Millions of liters of fertilizer, primarily in the form of digestate. Pros, we're looking at 12,501,481 liters of digestate. Joe's 11,864,806 liters. So not a huge difference there. Total acres with fertilizer put on it. We only put down fertilizer on 2,341.36 acres, where the Joes put down on 3,470.02 acres. So their fertilizer went further. Now, I know they used actual purchased fertilizer. I saw them using a fertilizer spreader. I don't know about a sprayer, but I did see them using granular fertilizer spreading. So I'm pretty sure that goes further than digestate, but costs more money. So you have all that to weigh. You know, it's time versus money, and that's what a lot of this was. Total time fertilizing, 30 hours for us. Just 30 hours. And the Joes, 31 hours for, what is that? 1,100 more acres. It only took them an hour and a half more to do 1,100 more acres. So, again, for time efficiency, I think they did a great job there. But again, I don't know whether it was beneficial to spend the money on fertilizer and save the time. Don't know. Yeah, it's just kind of two different ways of looking at it. But yeah, look at that. A lot more acres for almost the same amount of time. Harvest time. Harvesting, I was confirmed early on. This does include mowing grass. Farmer Klein confirmed that. So harvested acres is actual amount of acres of all harvesting grass, harvesters, chopper, everything. So the pros, we harvested 4,420.56 total acres, and the Joes harvested 4,627.38 acres. The Joes had way more land than we did for a long time. And again, I think our ability to turn that land over, to keep it moving, because we didn't have to stop to do those crops, I really think that helped us pull ahead. Until that point, the Joes were kind of kicking our butt. We couldn't catch them. We were always just one step behind them until viewer challenge number 1. We went with the sugarcane, they went with the crops, and I think that really helped us kind of get ahead and stay ahead for quite some time. So total time harvesting, 32.27 hours is the total amount of time we spent harvesting, and the Joes looking at 43.94 hours of total time harvesting, mowing, etc. Animals. Animals played a little bit of part for... I really wish I had the total amount of milk produced. Unfortunately, it didn't pull that number. That would be kind of a nice number to see. And the total amount of wool produced, but we weren't able to pull those numbers. But total cows bred, we only bred 286 cows. The rest of the cows we purchased. But yeah, 286 cows, which doesn't seem like a lot, but that's over 500,000, well, 2,000 per cow. Yeah. So almost $600,000 in cows that we bred. And the Joes, over $600,000 in cows bred. So that's a lot of money you gain from breeding animals, quite a bit. Sheep, we bred 330 sheep, the Joe's done, so that's 330,000. You get 2,000 per cow and 1,000 per sheep, so $330,000 we got from just letting the sheep do their thing, let nature take its course. Not to mention we got some wool. I would estimate probably around $200,000 in wool. So sheep's netted us $500,000 to $600,000 for really not having to do a whole lot. We didn't have to spend hardly any time on the sheep, so it's pretty much free money. Pigs. I really don't know why they went away from pigs. Pigs breed so fast. In fact, in the short amount of time, I think they only had pigs for like a week and a half. They bred 649 pigs. That's $649,000 from pigs. Oops. And they didn't even have them that long. They could have made millions off of pigs. In talking to Jamberry, the amount of time it took to kind of keep the pigs up versus the amount of time they could produce a silage bale and sell it. So it may not have been beneficial, but man, I look at that and I'm like, wow, pigs breed very fast, and I can tell you they do. They breed. They're rabbits. They're like rabbits in Farm Sim. No team worked with chickens or horses. Finally, the only stat that really matters. And that none of us are going to do forever. We're not making any silage bales for a year. The only stat that matters was bales. Really came down to bale production. That was the primary source of income for both teams. Chewed up most of our time was mowing, baling, and selling the bales. I did find out this does include cotton, but I think total between both teams we only produced about 100 bales of cotton total. So it was kind of minuscule compared to what we produced. So bales produced, pros, 18,436 bales, where the Joes produced 17,488 bales. That's a difference of almost 1,000 bales, over $1 million in bales. We had over $1 million in money more in bales produced than the Joes. Again, I think another reason why we won was our ability to outproduce bales to the Joes. I think that was a big portion of it. Also, that gave us more digestate. And we had stored digestate the whole time. If you remember, we had the little liquid tanks around. That was never intended for purchase. And I found out a couple days before the challenge was over with, when I went to sell one of our empty tanks, like you see right here, or one of our tanks, because I was like, we're done putting digestate down on this field. It was like, oh, you get money for digestate. So I stopped, and I told my team, and I told Jamberry. I shared that information with Jamberry when I found it out, because I didn't want to have an advantage over the team by knowing some base game information that they didn't know. But Jamberry was aware of that, and apparently they had been selling digestate for days, and that's why they had caught up with us, is because they'd let their digestate tank fill up, they'd sell it, and they'd build another one. So they were kind of already doing that. We were late to the game. I really think if we would have known that digestate would have been worth money, we would have been selling it from the very beginning. Because the amount of time it took to spread it, I really think it would have been worth more just selling it and then using like granular fertilizer, which goes really You can buy it, and it lasts a long time in a spreader. So probably would have been best to just go with granular fertilizer and then sell all the liquid digestate. Really, probably would have been in that. But 35,924 total bales, or like over $57 million in BGA income for both teams combined. A lot of money. All right. So with the bales, before I did this, I offered to every player who played. I'm excluded. Jamberry's excluded because he already had this information. Farmer Klein's excluded. Darren said he didn't care. Alien Jid didn't seem to be interested. So I only had 4 entries. I told them to guess, and the person that guessed the closest to how many bales we would produce, I would give them Alpine Farming Expansion. I wish I could give everybody who participated in the event Alpine Expansion. I really, really do. I just don't have the income to do that because, you know, it's like $20 a pop. So, unless you share and tell all your friends and we grow this channel to huge amounts, then I'll be giving stuff away like crazy. All right. Total bales produced was 35,924. The closest person to that, Asaman, was 45,000, so he's a little far away. JFK is far away. Pete did 30, and then Nuka-Cola did the typical Price is Right move. He said 30,001. So technically, Nuka-Cola wins. So congratulations, Nuka-Cola, for winning the Alpine Farming Extension. I will get you the Steam key, or however if you don't use Steam, I can get you a key through Giants. However you want to do that, I'll get in touch with you. So congrats, Nuka-Cola. All right, final numbers. So a little more data that we found. We found a stat called Playtime, which read 39,746.39, which is really close to the server runtime. So I don't know what this is. And then 39,746.11. I don't know if this is total combined player time per team on the server. If that is, then once you figure in everybody's amount of time on the server, we're about equal. Once you figure in total hours played by every player, we're really about the same. But the total server runtime was 39,871 minutes. If that's true, then I mean we're talking less than 130 minutes, 2 hours that there wasn't somebody on the server at all. That's crazy. That means that server usage was in the 90-something%. Absolutely crazy. I mean, the server was. Bet you the old servers just wore out. Another weird data point was something called expenses. And I'm not sure what expenses are. I don't know if this was like seed purchased or fertilizer purchased. I really don't know what it was. And Farmer Klein didn't know what it is. So if anybody knows what expenses are in the save game, we have the pros at 16.26 and the Joes at 85.05. I don't know what the unit of measure is. I don't even know what this is measuring, but it's there. I thought I'd share it with you. Total land owned. The Joes held 19 plots, and they held 19 plots for a very long time. They held that for a majority of the challenge, I believe. We actually held around 11 plots for the majority of the challenge. And then about halfway through, we bought Nosebleed Hill and started mowing that for grass. And in the last 24 to 48 hours, we actually bought a lot of land. We bought, I think in 48 hours, we bought 5 plots just to we were running out of work and we wanted to keep mowing. And in fact, in the last stream, if you watch Farmer Klein's stream, we bought 2 plots of land in the last stream and only mowed it 1 time. That was it. Because you get roughly, I think, like $150,000, $160,000 worth of silage off of an $85,000 purchase. So it was just a few $100,000 to kind of help keep us going, and it gave us work to do. But final land held, Joe's at 19, Pros at 18. And the final bank balances. Very close. I think much closer than this actually shows. $32,502,304. And that was for the pros. We broke 30 million. I think that was awesome. It was fun. It was hard. It was stressful. It was challenging, but I had a lot of fun doing it. So 32 million 500,000 for the pros, 31,071,000 for the Joes. Congratulations to both teams. Thank you guys so much for participating. Thank you everybody for watching and for voting. The viewer challenges were a lot of fun. I really think that helped keep the challenge going. If we wouldn't have done that, we would have been bailing for 28 days straight, and I think they would have all hated me. I really do. I think none of them would ever talk to me again. So I was happy to come up with some ideas on how to change things up, throw some curveballs at the players, and keep everything exciting. All right, I'm going to break away for just a minute. When I come back, we're going to just talk about my channel update, and where we go from here. See you in just a second. All right, time for a little channel update. So what's next for Raz? Well, Farm Sim. Speaking of Farm Sim, we're going to get the Let's Build series finished. I have 2, maybe 3 episodes left of Let's Build. I'm probably going to do all those next week. Get that done, get it knocked out. In fact, this is the map I'm just kind of flying around on, so you guys have some scenery to look at while I'm talking instead of just a black screen. But we're going to finish up the Let's Build, do a final few little builds, and then we'll be done with the Let's Build series on No Man's Land. The Let's Build may be something I do in the future if I find another map that I really like and I want to kind of change it and do some different stuff, or I may do, you know, individual single Let's Build episodes on different maps when I find maps that are really cool, and then we can kind of squeeze in our own little farm somewhere. I might do that. I'm really undecided. I'm not sure. I know quite a few people like the Let's Builds, and I may do it, or I may actually ask people, what do you want me to build? Give me an idea to build and I'll try to build it. We may do that. I'm not quite sure. I'm kind of undecided on that. So yeah, we're going to finish out the Nets build. I'm going to take a few days off from Farm Sim until the Alpine DLC comes out. I'm going to spend a good month, you know, good 3 to 4 weeks solid on the Alpine DLC. I'm going to play it without seasons, I think. I'm going to enjoy all the content. I'm going to also enjoy all the DLCs. I'm not going to add any vehicle mods. Very few mods. Maybe just some stuff like GPS and, you know, vehicle control, and, you know, just basic quality of life mods that we'll be trying out. But outside of that, no, not really many mods for that. In December, Season 2 of Hofbergman will start up. I'll start up in December with Season 2 of Hofbergman for those of you who are waiting for that. I have some ideas written down for Mr. NPC and for carrying forward with the adventures on Hofbergman. Not to mention Farmer Andy's working on an update. It might be out by then. We'll see. We'll see what happens there. After that, for Farm Sim, I don't know. I'm going to be doing some testing off camera, helping out my buddy CCS 101, and we're going to be helping test his new map. But other than that, I really don't have any plans for Farm Sim going forward. I am done with multiplayer for a while. I'm going to really focus on single player stuff. Probably, you know, maybe some Let's Plays. I'm really not sure. Not sure what I'm going to do with Farm Sim going forward other than what I've already discussed. Outside of Farm Sim, we're going to be playing Fishing North Atlantic. We've moved from Fishing Barents Sea to Fishing North Atlantic. I'm not going to finish Fishing Barents Sea like with the other boats, because everything that's in Fishing Barents Sea I'm pretty sure is in Fishing North Atlantic, just with more stuff. So we're going to be playing that game. I'm going to play that game till I'm tired of it. I don't know how many episodes that's going to be, but I really would like to explore the map, find everything, try out a bunch of different boats and a bunch of different ways to fish, and kind of see where that game takes us, and try that out. Other than that, I really don't have... I want to play Medieval Dynasty. Really do. That game looks a lot of fun, but it's in early access, and I'm kind of hesitant to play early access games because you have to keep starting over when they make big updates, and that's kind of frustrating. I don't like doing that. So I might play Medieval Dynasty. I'm not sold yet. I wanted to play Cyberpunk when it comes out. I don't know if that'll be recorded stuff. I might record a little bit, but I really want to play Cyberpunk. It looks pretty cool. The story looks interesting. Some other stuff. Fallout 4 has a new mod called Sim Settlements 2. which completely changes the game of Fallout 4. It's a huge mod, probably one of the best mods for the game that they've made so far. So I might be playing that. Again, these are all I don't knows. I really don't know. I don't know where the world takes me. Actually, a lot of people don't know this, but I have over 500 hours in World of Warships. I used to do some World of Warships stuff, and I really have fun playing that game too. So it might be something I work in also. It just really depends on what I have time for. My primary focus, of course, is always going to be farm sim content because it is my favorite game. Farming Simulator is my favorite game, so I'll be spending most of my time on it, but I like to change up sometimes because you get bored, right? We all do. We all want to try out some new games and some different stuff from time to time. But that's kind of it for the channel. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Give me some suggestions maybe for some farm sim content, what maybe you would like to see. I don't mind making some stuff that the viewers like to see as long as it's fun for me as well. That's the most important thing, is for myself to have fun. That's really why I do this. But also, I'd like for you guys, if you're spending time with me, to enjoy what you're watching. So that's really important. I want to say thank you very much for the support. We're closing in on 3,000 subs, so don't be afraid to, share with your friends. You can follow me on Facebook. You can follow me on Twitter. I have an Instagram, but I don't ever use it because it confuses me, and I'm old, so I don't use Instagram. But yeah, I think if we can get this channel to grow, it can be a great thing. Everybody, thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Thank you everybody for participating in the No Man's Lands challenge. It was a lot of fun. I think a challenge will be something when the new farm sim comes out that'll be really fun to do. Maybe even before that, we will see. Again, I really can't plan that far ahead because you just never know what comes out. But thank you guys so very much. Everybody, please stay safe. Please take care of each other out there. Until next time. I should have said that first. I'm losing my train of thought. All right, bye. See you later. Bye.